Picture this. The FBI storms into New York City, raiding the homes of Mayor Adams' top aides in a sweeping crackdown on corruption. Now, it's a major move, but don't be mistaken. This isn't just a New York City story. The feds are sending a message that no one, not even in the smallest corners of Illinois, is beyond their reach. Now, Tiffany Henyard may think she's flying under the radar, but if the feds can hit New York City's inner circle, she's more likely next in line. The question is, how much longer? Now, take a listen, guys, to this clip that's coming up on the NYC raid. And I'm going to come back so that we can discuss how I believe this closely aligns itself with what's going to happen in the village of Dalton and Thornton Township with Tiffany Henyard.
Well, this is what we are learning. The FBI has raided the homes of at least 3 top New York City officials closely connected to Mayor Eric Adams. Also, I'm putting up this post on X from our friend there, Fox 5's Morgan McKay, saying a law enforcement source telling Linda Schmidt at Fox 5 that several NYPD executives, including the NYPD police commissioner, were asked to turn over their phones immediately to investigators at the U.S. Attorney's Office.
Imagine waking up in New York City to news of an FBI raid on high-profile political figures. Sirens wailing, agents in full tactical gear, storming into the homes of high-ranking officials close to the mayor. Now, this grabs the headlines. It sparks a media frenzy. But most people in Dalton, Illinois, and Thornton Township might just scroll past this news clip, numb to the spectacle. So what if I told you that the raid in NYC isn't just another FBI operation, but a prelude to what's going to happen across the globe for people that have involved themselves in corruption? Like, what's on the horizon for Tiffany Henyard is going to shock the nation. Like, the silence around her case, it doesn't mean that the feds are out to lunch or have lost interest. In fact, the quiet often signals something much bigger brewing, right? So when the FBI goes silent, it's just because they're laying the groundwork for something major, and that could very well include Tiffany Henyard being the next chapter in their book.
With the Southern District of New York. Investigators will also be looking at emails. Well, I had the chance to catch up with Fox 5 New York reporter Morgan McKay about what is going on here with officials there at the NYPD and connected to Mayor Eric Adams.
Now, don't be fooled, guys. The FBI's eyes are on corruption from coast to coast. And if you've been following the trail of allegations against Tiffany Henyard, then you know that she's no stranger to controversy. But what's significant is that the raid has intensified its focus on all public officials misusing their power. Officials like Henyard, who's been linked to allegations of misappropriation of funds, obstruction of investigations, and then covering up her alleged financial misdeeds. So what I'm saying, guys, is that this just isn't about what's happening in New York City. It's a broader implication that the net is tightening on public corruption across the nation. And then the small town officials like Henyard isn't immune. Now, as the FBI moves into the New York City raid, don't be surprised if you see similar actions in Tiffany's territory, because when the feds come knocking, they don't leave any stones unturned. Now, could Tiffany be next? Well, let's break down the why and how this raid might be the prelude to her downfall.
FBI raiding the homes of at least 5 people close to New York City Mayor Eric Adams. We're talking about 2 deputy mayors, the school's chancellor, and reportedly even the NYPD commissioner. Agents on Wednesday also raided the home of Deputy Mayor for Public Safety Phil Banks, the brother of David Banks. Phil Banks' attorney, Benjamin Brofman, confirmed this for us this afternoon. Phil Banks has been entangled with law enforcement before and was previously named by federal prosecutors as an unindicted co-conspirator in an investigation into a police bribery scheme during former Mayor Bill de Blasio's administration. Banks abruptly retired from the NYPD in 2014, but returned to city government after Mayor Eric Adams took office in 2022.
So what does the FBI raid on New York City mayor's top aides have in common with a small town politician in Illinois? Well, more than you might think. While it may seem like worlds apart, these cases share one undeniable link: federal agents zeroing in on public officials who think that they can outrun their scandals. Now, the FBI's strategy is crystal clear. Start with the aides, squeeze them for information, and work their way to the top.
Political consultant Hank Scheinkoff says the stakes for the mayor are high.
Either this is the greatest corruption scandal since the third Koch administration, which is the most corrupt administration since Jimmy Walker, or it's nothing. That's what we're going to be seeing over the next few months.
There's been no comment from any of those subpoenaed this week, and no comment tonight from the U.S. Justice Department. Whether Mayor Adams is a target of this latest investigation is still not clear, and it would appear that he is not.
Interesting. Now, Tiffany, I believe, thinks that this will all somehow blow over and work out in her favor. Now, I think that she's banking on the notion that the FBI is too preoccupied elsewhere. The reality is, though, the longer they stay quiet, the closer they're getting. Now, her confidence might just be her biggest mistake of all.
From the home of Timothy Pearson. He's a mayoral advisor and former high-ranking NYPD official. Now, sources say Wednesday's raids are unrelated to a separate federal corruption investigation involving alleged donations made by Turkish officials to the mayor's 2021 campaign, for which the FBI seized Adams' electronic devices last year.
So all I'm saying, guys, is rather it's a major metropolis or a small town like Dalton, Illinois, Tiffany Henyard may think she's safe. But the truth is the feds are building a bigger case that could land really, really soon right at her doorstep. Now, here's what I think. I think that Tiffany Henyard is shaking in her boots. That NYC raid was loud, unmistakable, signaling that corruption is being hunted at the highest levels, right? So these aides were caught in the crosshairs. Their homes were searched, probably their secrets pried open, all in the name of exposing the truth behind the power. So I know, guys, it sounds like a contradiction, but it's not. I think she's shaking in her boots, but at the same time, part of her, I believe, is banking on the fact that she's going to outsmart the feds and somehow point the fingers at everyone else around her in her administration so she can somehow, at the least, escape serious prison time. That's just my opinion. And of course, everything here today is all alleged. We all know that the feds have a huge ego, right? And this raid on the New York top aides to the mayor, I don't think that was just about uncovering their wrongdoings. It was a calculated move to send a message. Now, if that's the level of pressure the feds apply in a massive city, how much longer can Henyard keep up the facade? Like, with the allegations stacking up against her, the quiet before the storm is almost deafening. And when it hits, you can expect the airways to be flooded with the fallout of what's to come for Tiffany Henyard. I'm saying that the feds aren't done yet, and the clock is ticking. Would it surprise you guys at all if Tiffany is regretting the day she even took office? The mounting lawsuits, federal investigations, and controversies swirling around her every move likely aren't what she imagined, when she took the reins. Now, at this point, hitting a virtual erase button and starting over probably sounds like a dream to her. But there's no reset button in real life. And the longer she keeps up this act, the more likely that she'll find herself facing the consequences sooner than later. So here's something to think about. Some of the viewers have expressed that they don't believe that those in office in the state of Illinois are even interested in giving any energy to this whole Tiffany Henyard thing for a couple of reasons. One, because of the presidential election, and then probably their ties to, what that's going to mean for them, right? And so people are expressing that no one's interested in Tiffany Henyard in 2024, but she's up for re-election early 2025, and people believe that the clock is simply ticking for her indictment in 2025 or after the presidential election. So as we watch these investigations unfold, we have to ask ourselves, will Tiffany's story end like so many others who's been caught in the FBI's web, or will she somehow manage to evade justice? Not only time will tell, but the questions remain, how much time does she really have? As we close today's episode, remember that at Southern Confidential, we aim to offer more than just headlines. Now, we offer news you can use, and we break down the hidden layers of power, corruption, and what these events reveal about the human psyche. It's not just about the crimes themselves, but how the people involved think, like how they justify their actions and how the system responds. What drives someone like Tiffany Henyard to push the limits of power? And what goes through her mind as the walls close in? Like, these are the questions we'll continue to explore. So stay with us as we dissect not only the events, but the minds behind them. Because understanding how our minds work helps us to see the truth behind the scandals. I can't speak for other content creators, but it's always an honor to have you to tune in to Southern Confidential. So, in case you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and like the video and share with your friends and family. And I will see you next time.